My practice is limited to holistic medicine for all animals. Just being able to give a better quality of life to my patients, and if I can also extend their life.
Welcome back to Tales of Fluff. I'm AJ.
And I'm Emily. Today's episode takes us into the world of veterinarian medicine 24 years of compassion, challenges, and healing, told through the journey of Dr. Michelle.
From working with thoroughbreds on Kentucky breeding farms to holistic therapies for pets of all kinds, Michelle's career shows us just how many ways veterinarians can touch lives.
So, to begin, we asked, how long has she been a veterinarian and what inspired her to go down this path?
I have been a vet for 24 years. And I guess growing up, because I just always loved animals, it's something that I knew that I wanted to do. So I was pretty set on being a vet from fifth grade.
From fifth grade, she just knew that love for animals became her passion, and now, decades later, she's still living that dream. Next, we wanted to know what was her very first day like working as a vet.
Well, that's a really good question because that was a while ago. I mean, I'm sure it was, the issue, or not the issue, but, you get out of vet school and yes, you're a doctor, but you still haven't practiced. And so there's still so much that you don't know. I think I was probably very nervous when I first started. And thankfully, I did an internship. So I did have like, mentors and a lot of guidance. But I definitely always remember feeling like I couldn't wait to know more and to be in practice for longer so that I would have all that knowledge and I would have that experience.
I like how she pointed out that even after vet school, you're still learning. That desire to keep going never really stops. And she made a good point. You come out of school, a doctor, but you still have yet to really practice.
Yeah, and it really stood out how much she credited her internship mentors. It's a reminder that even in the animal world, guidance makes all the difference.
It really does. So, Dr. Michelle's veterinarian work is a little different than the typical veterinarian.
So, right now, my practice is limited to holistic medicine for all animals. So, right now, I offer acupuncture, chiropractic, Chinese herbal medicine, food therapy, laser therapy for all animals, mostly horses and like dogs and cats. But when I first started out as a vet, I was in general equine ambulatory practice. So I worked in Kentucky first. And so for there, I did a lot of work on breeding farms. And so it's a lot of thoroughbred work, basically trying to get the mares in foal and then dealing with the foals once they're on the ground. And then when I was in South Florida, I worked on the racetrack there, which is a whole different type of practice. And throughout the time, I've just started adding in holistic medicine to practice. And since 2007, I've been doing just that.
Holistic medicine, acupuncture, chiropractic care, Chinese herbs. Hearing how she blends these practices into veterinary care is just absolutely fascinating.
It really surprised me too. And it's cool to hear how she worked in Kentucky on a farm and then even worked in South Florida on the racetrack and now practices holistic medicine for animals. It really shows the passion she has for helping any animals in need. Now, because Dr. Michelle has 24 years of experience, we wanted to know what keeps her passionate about the work she does.
I think still just being able to give a better quality of life to my patients, and if I can also extend their life so that their owners can have more days with them and healthier, happier days with them. I think that's the thing that keeps me doing it, is really just, trying to help and heal.
Her answer might have been short, but it got straight to the point. To give a better quality of life and to have owners be able to have their pets for longer. And not just that, have happier and healthier pets. And even though her answer was brief, you can feel the passion behind her work and what she does. So, our next question we asked is based off of the fact that she practices such a specific type of veterinarian care. We asked, what part of her job does she think would surprise people the most?
I think that what I do now, I forget that it's very interesting for people because I'll start to acupuncture a dog or a horse, and a lot of people will gather around because they've never seen it before, or it's never been done before, or they didn't even know that you can do that. So I think that is part of it, is people not even realizing the modalities that you can use on animals. So a lot of people didn't realize you can get your dog adjusted, or that you can use acupuncture for your bird who like might be plucking out his feathers, or you can use Chinese herbs for your horse who has asthma or things like that.
Her answer made sense because actually, before we recorded this episode with her, we looked into the work she does, and to see acupuncture and Chinese herbal medicine and even laser therapy was surprising to us and really fascinating. Another part that stood out to me was that people gather around to watch her work. What a powerful feeling that must be.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. Such different areas to work in. So, for our follow up question, we asked, can she tell us about an animal she treated that really stood out to her?
I remember when I first got my acupuncture certification, I got called out to treat a dog who was acutely paralyzed. She was a little beagle mix. And so she wasn't walking. The owners couldn't afford to do surgery. So we instituted acupuncture and we added in Chinese herbs for her. And it was my first case like that. And so I honestly did not know if I would be able to help or not. And I remember the day when I went in for a visit and she was standing and she walked over to me. So that was definitely one for sure where it was just, you couldn't have asked for a better ending and a happier ending. So she's probably one of the first ones for sure.
That beagle mix who was paralyzed and then walked again after acupuncture and herbs, that was an incredible story to hear.
It was amazing. She was nervous if it would even help that dog or not. And seeing that it did, I can only imagine how rewarding that moment was. And you could hear how much it meant to her, especially because it was one of her first holistic cases.
Absolutely. Now, on the flip side, we wanted to know what's been one of the most emotional or rewarding moments she'll never forget.
It's so hard because honestly, in veterinary medicine, and I guess the same with human medicine, like you have just as many not great moments. And I'll be honest, it's usually those that tend to stick with you that really kind of get into your heart and, just leave a spot there. I think it's just the nature of veterinarians and who we are and how we're empathetic. And we tend to do that to ourselves. Like if a patient doesn't do well, it's not something that we let go of very easily.
I absolutely thought that it was powerful that she admitted the hard cases, the ones that don't go as planned, often stick with her the most.
Yeah, it shows just how much heart vets put into their work. They carry those memories with them.
Exactly. And with being a vet, whether we are in the field or not, we know that there are hard parts to it. But what would be the hardest for Dr. Michelle?
I think probably the hardest part of the job would be knowing that you can help a patient, but either one, there are financial constraints from the owner, right? Because so maybe $7,000 surgery would help the horse, but the owners can't afford that. And so, euthanasia is usually the option, or either that you do know how to help them and the owners, though, just don't really want to do the work or to comply or take your recommendations.
The financial piece really stood out to me. Knowing you can help, but not being able to because of the cost, that's not something you really think about, but it makes sense. And it just has to be heartbreaking to see those cases.
It does. It reminds us that vets face tough choices, and it's not always about medical skill, it's about circumstances.
Exactly. And in veterinarian medicine, goodbyes are part of the journey. So we asked, has she ever had to say goodbye to an animal she felt personally connected to?
A lot. Yes, I have. And it's not easy and you never forget them. It is a very hard part of the job.
She didn't hesitate. She started out by saying a lot, and while it isn't a specific case, the point she made that you never forget them is enough said.
It truly is. And it's not something you just move past. Those animals leave marks on your heart.
I can only imagine. Now, to close things out, we asked her, what advice would she give to someone dreaming of becoming a vet?
Well, I love being a vet. I really do. And I think it's wonderful because there's so many different things that you can do with it. There's so many facets of veterinary medicine. So I think my suggestion is for people who want to go into veterinary medicine is to do it. And, you'll find your own way for sure. But I think you also want to make sure that you expose yourself to the profession so that you know what you're getting into.
I like her answer. Do it. Super simple. But she also mentioned expose yourself to the profession. See what it's really like, and then find your own way.
You know, it's honest and encouraging. Veterinary medicine isn't one size fits all, and Michelle's career proves that.
This conversation really opened our eyes to the depths of veterinarian care.
Absolutely. And Dr. Michelle reminded us that healing animals isn't just about medicine, it's about connection, knowing what's best for the animal, and love. And we're not asking for likes or follows. Instead, taking a moment to reflect on the incredible people who dedicate their lives to animals, like veterinarians who give them comfort, healing, and overall healthier lives.
Until next time, remember, caring for animals is more than medicine, it's compassion in action.